Attorney Alexis Hart McDowell is a successful attorney in the Chicago area. She's a real estate investor, an author, a wife, a mother, which is enough titles in itself. Her 15 plus years of experience is compiled of being a non-for-profit professional, an adjunct law professor, New York big law firm associate, and most importantly, an entrepreneur like a lot of us in this room. Her enthusiasm for the law and her compassion for people has allowed her to work on multi-million-dollar commercial projects, handle residential real estate deals for NFL players, represent entrepreneurs and developers who are impacting their communities, and help families protect their assets and create generational wealth. Alexis recently started Epic Impact Investors, an incubator program to teach people of color how to become private money lenders for real estate projects. No further ado, Attorney Alexis, I'm going to unmute you, and we would love to hear what you have to say. Let's take it from there. All right.
Okay.
There we go.
Perfect. Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I am Alexis Hart McDowell, and it is truly my pleasure to be here this evening. I am a sponsor for Hard Hats and Heels, and I was a sponsor last year because I believe in the work of this organization and the education that it puts out to help so many realtors, women of color, and other real estate professionals in the industry as well. So I'm very, very blessed to be on this panel and to speak with you all this evening. So I'm going to share my screen. Make sure I have the right thing up here. I think that's it. Nope, that's not it. 1 second. All right, I think that's it. There we go. Does everybody see that?
Looks good to me.
Yes. Okay, great. So I want this to be interactive. So if you all have questions as we go along, please ask them. Okay. I know that Miss Tiffany is manning the chat. So she can certainly stop me at any time and let me know. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about private funding sources, both from kind of the borrower and the lender standpoint. There's some fundamentals there that we'll be going over this evening. And as Ms. Tiffany said, I'm Alexis Hart McDowell, and I started Epic Impact Investors last year, okay? And the main reason was due to lack of capital. It's the primary reason why Black and Brown communities don't thrive and they fail to have their own source of wealth and jobs. And I wanted to help change that. So many other of you in the real estate field are changing that dynamic by being real estate developers, by being real estate realtors. And I wanted to contribute to the success of our communities as well. So I put my money where my heart was, and that's with my community, and I started Epic Impact Investors. And so Epic Impact Investors is a dual purpose company. Its mission is to source and use capital to cultivate communities through real estate development while developing private money lender investors who want to transform communities of color from the inside out. We all know that money makes the world go round, and I just want to make sure that that money is making it to our communities and it is doing well in our communities. So my logo is, capital to cultivate community, because that's what I want to have. And then I want to educate those of you who want to become your own private money lenders. This is such a white male dominated area and it's very lucrative if done right, and you have skills and experience and education behind it, and you know how to do it. This can be an excellent way to be a passive real estate investor. And I know a lot of people talk about owning multifamilies, which is great. Other rental properties. I'm a real estate investor as well. And this is just another component to consider for your portfolio. And the fact that you all have a real estate background and real estate education just makes you all that much more savvy if you decide to move into this particular arena. So I have this free guide. It's a private lending essentials guide. So if you just email me at contact@epicimpactinvestors.com, you'll get it. It's like 17 pages or something like that of general information on private money lending, teaching you what it is, what you're looking out for, how to vet a deal, that kind of stuff. So it's a great essentials guide. It took me a lot of time to put together. So if you all would like that, please send me an email with your first name, your last name, and your email address to contact@Epic Impact Investors, and I'll get that out to you this evening after the discussion this evening. All right, here are my social media handles if you all want to find me. I also include this at the end as well. I have a free Facebook group where we discuss private money lending, education options, discussions, things like that. Case study, I currently have a $60,000 deal out, so I kind of update people on the walkthrough of what's going on with that particular deal. Sometimes the road is not always straight, and you have these divergence or these angles, and you need to know how to handle those when you become a private money lender. So I talk through how I handle different situations. But you can feel free to follow me at any one of these. My law office is enterpriseesquire.com, and then Epic Impact Investors is at Epic Impact Investors. So first I want to do a quick poll. So I just want to know who's in the audience this evening. So if you want to become a private money lender, put 1 in the chat. If you want to borrow money and you're doing a project and you're looking to borrow money, put a number 2 in the chat, just so I know, who all is in the audience this evening. A 1 if you want to be a lender, a 2 if you're looking for money. Okay, all the 2s are coming in, a few 1s. Looks like the 2s are outnumbering the 1s here. Oh, a 1 and a 2. Oh, I love the people who want to be 1s and 2s. That's awesome. Okay, great. Great. Thank you all. Appreciate that. All right. So now I know who I'm speaking to. So I'm going to just jump right into it. I'm not going to, people who know me know that I don't do fluff. I don't do filler. I just do facts. I'm going to get in, give you exactly what you need, probably more information than you ever want to hear from an attorney, and then, let you all go do your thing. So first of all, whether you're a borrower or you're a lender, you want to start with your immediate circle. Okay, because those of you, they know you, it's going to be an easier sell for you in most cases if they know your track record, if they have a history with you, if they know that you're a responsible person and they know that they're in real estate. They've been in real estate for 10 years as a real estate broker, or they're interested in this other field. They've got a great team together. If you start with your immediate circle, you have no idea how many people may have been waiting on the sidelines to see and to be involved in what it is that you have going on. So whether you're a borrower and you're looking to search for money, you need to start talking to people, letting people know that closed mouths don't get fed. And so you have to put it out there that you're starting a project. This is what it is. And I'm looking for funding. And you don't know who knows who from your personal and your professional network that could probably get you in front of the right person or get you a referral to the right person. So you have to start with your immediate circle. If you want to get into lending, you want to understand from your immediate circle, okay, who wants to fund deals with me? Or who has additional capital that may be interested in something like this. So you have to start with your immediate circle. It's just going to be the easiest route for you. Now, I understand not everybody's immediate circle has disposable income. But if you start there and you start branching out then into your other circles and your broader horizons, kind of like the LinkedIn connections, you will eventually get to who you need. Okay. So that's definitely the starting place is your immediate circle. And I just want to say that I'm not giving a presentation on all the various hard money lenders out there. You all know who the hard money lenders are. You know about Ground Floor. You know about all of the Lima ones. You know about all of the other hard money lenders out there. I don't have to give a presentation on that. So I'm strictly giving you information for those of you who are looking to borrow from a private money lender and those of you who are interested in becoming a private money lender. All right. My second point is to start local. Absolutely start local. Okay. While more savvy investors may be out of state, I do have several investors who invest in Chicago out of state. They're way more savvy. They've been at the game for a little while. Most of them started locally in their area and then they started branching out. But local potential investors will feel way more comfortable investing in areas that they are familiar with. So it's one thing for me to tell you, and you don't live here, oh, I've got something, in West Woodlawn. And you're going to be like, well, tell me about West Woodlawn. What is that about? Whereas if you live here, if you're from here, if you're familiar with the areas and the neighborhoods here, you would know, okay, West Woodlawn is up and popping, is up and coming, is hot. If you find something over there nowadays, you're in luck. So, it's an easier sell for you. All right. And then if you're networking locally, you're going to find those potential investors. It's just going to be an easier find for you because they're local too. They're looking for their next deal. I'm always on the hunt for my next deal. And I talk about that in the Facebook group. I have one deal going on now. And as soon as that one wraps up, I'm already looking for my next deal because that's part of my strategic plan. So when you're out and about, you have to talk about what it is that you want to do. You have to connect with people, and finding that potential investor will be easier for you because you're doing it in your local area. Okay. And you absolutely want to attend productive and effective meetups. Not all of them are, but you want to attend meetups and make it a point to have a plan when you get to a meetup or to a networking event. Have your cards, have your purpose, have your 30-second elevator pitch on what it is that you're asking for and what it is that you can provide someone so that you're making effective use of your time and that event. All right. So definitely attend meetups, definitely attend networking events, and absolutely real estate related events like this one. Hard Hat and Heels is a great one. Okay. Another one is for people who are looking for private money lenders. Some of them use what's called a solo 401k, and this is different from a 401k in that it's for entrepreneurs. Okay, and if you're interested in setting one up, just contact me. I'll let you know how it's done. Okay, so some of you had corporate jobs and you rolled over, or you have a 401k sitting there. So I meet people all the time who say, oh, I've got like $100,000 sitting in this 401k from this job that I sat at for 20 years and I can't access it. I'm not doing anything with it. Or I've got 60, or I've got 80,000 sitting in this 401k and I would like to do something with it. And that's when I inform them right off the bat saying, hey, you're an entrepreneur now. If you're not working for that company anymore, you can start your own company, as some of you have, create your own solo 401k, and you can do direct investing in real estate because the investment options are that much more broad using a solo 401k as opposed to your 401k from your employer. The 401k from your employer, as you know, gives you options in mutual funds, right? That's it. That's all you have. That's your only variety. Well, when you have a solo 401k, you're able to invest in real estate and pretty much anything else except for like 2 or 3 things like life insurance and collectibles or something like that. But the sphere is just open for you to find out what it is that you want to invest in and then use that solo 401k money to invest. So for example, you can buy property out of your solo 401k. I've done that. You can do private money loans out your solo 401k. And then what I teach in my program is, we don't use any money that affects household operations. Money that is allocated to daily household operations, we do not use because there's the risk that's involved. You don't want your kids or your household affected. You're not using your mortgage money. You're not using your rent money. We don't do that. I don't believe in that. But this is other money that is sitting there otherwise, because if you have a 401k, it's just sitting there. You can't even access that unless you roll it over, of course, into another 401k with another job, or you can choose to roll it over into a solo 401k. And you don't have to have one or the other. You can have both. You just have to be mindful of the maximum contributions that the IRS allows per year. So you can, if the maximum contribution is $19,500, then, maybe you want to put 10 grand in your solo 401k and 9,500 in your W-2 401k if you're still with that particular company. So the cap applies to both varieties. It's not 19.5 for one and 19.5 for the other. Another thing is that in your own solo 401k, if your paperwork is set up correctly, you can borrow up to $50,000. Now, you don't necessarily need to make a loan to yourself when you're deciding to use a solo 401k to invest in real estate, because you can just do the direct investment. You can just buy a condo. You can just buy a multifamily and let the rents come back and pay and come back into the 401k. And that pays for that investment. And when you sell it, that return comes back into your solo 401k as well. Okay, so you don't necessarily need to borrow any money, but that's just a perk of having the solo 401k, and you pay yourself back. Another great point is that you absolutely want to have checkbook control of this, because that allows you as a lender to determine when you're going to fund. Instead of saying, oh, wait, I have to put a request in. They said 2 weeks. They said, 8 days, whatever it is. You have checkbook control, and you literally have a checkbook, and you can write that check or wire those funds whenever you're ready to fund a deal. So that expedited nature makes you look very good as a private money lender, because people will come and say, oh, well, how quickly can you fund a deal? And it's like, well, if the numbers are right, I can fund a deal within 2 to 3 days. And I only build in 2 to 3 days because I have kids and I'm slow sometimes. But with that checkbook control, I'm literally just writing my own check or sending that my own wire. So that makes you look very, very attractive as a private money lender, because people want to keep their projects going, and you hold up their timeline, or other hard money lenders can hold up their timeline if they're like, oh, well, it takes a few days to get this money from this lender, or we're backed up or whatever. So that checkbook control makes a huge difference. And lastly, you can combine with your spouse's 401k. Now, I didn't get all detailed into this. There are much broader requirements and responsibilities when you have a solo 401k of things you can and cannot do with it. But as far as real estate is concerned, these are the main points and benefits of having a solo 401k. And you can combine that with your spouse's 401k, and you all can go into a joint deal together. So if you have 60 in yours and your spouse has, 70 in theirs, then, you can do $100,000 deal. And then split the profits as you see fit, and put those profits back into your respective solo 401ks. So those are just some of the highlights that you're looking for if you're a borrower. See if somebody is working with a solo 401k. See if somebody is working with a self-directed IRA. There's plenty of private money lenders out here who are using their retirement accounts to fund deals, and I'm one of them. And so it's just another level that a lot of borrowers don't consider when they're looking for private money. And so it's a great thing to put on your list. And when you're talking to people, asking them what their funding sources are, and they say, oh, I have a self-directed IRA, or I have a solo 401k, you want to put a little asterisk by their name, because they may be able to fund your deal a little bit quicker. Okay. Now, here's one myth that, a lot of first-time borrowers may believe, and that is that any lender will do. I just need to get a lender. And that is not the case, because as you all know, I'm a real estate attorney too. And in my years of experience, I definitely know not all lenders are created equal. And you all, as real estate brokers or realtors, you all absolutely know that not all lenders are created equal in your own professional experience. And so the same thing goes with hard money that you need to be aware of. Okay. So for example, I have a client already who has a hard money loan, and the hard money lender basically stopped funding her project and tacked on like 3 weeks. And so you all know time is money. And who all freaked out when I said that? Like, oh my God, stop funding my project. Who would do that, right? Who freaked out? So, and that's real though. But they, because it depended on where they were getting their funding sources from. So if they had private lenders, they had funders coming in, and then COVID hit, and the funders were like, oh no, I'm keeping my money. I don't want to fund anymore. I don't want to get deeper into this real estate project. And that happened. And then now they're trying to source other ways to get more money to fund her deal, to fund her next draw. She was already funded. These are draws. So she's done work, and she's trying to get, the draws down so that she could continue to do more work. So now you cost more time, and you all know more time is more money. And when you're up against the clock right now, and people who, even though COVID is here, the people who have finished their deals are doing fine. I'm getting contracts every single day across my desk of people buying and selling. It has not slowed down. COVID has not slowed down for me now. That's just right now. Okay. And these aren't old contracts either that started in February or the beginning of March. These are things that are coming daily. Daily, these things are coming in. But you all know that if a lender, runs out of money, or the source dries up, or they're not committed anymore, what does that do to you and your project? So you all have to know that. You need to know who you're getting in bed with. You need to know their track record just as much as they need to know your track record, so that you're not putting yourself in a disadvantageous situation. Okay. Now, granted, my example about using the pandemic was a bit unfair because who could have predicted a pandemic? Okay. But the point still holds true that, her draws were held up, and her project is now delayed. Okay. So I see we have a question in the chat. Somebody wants to know any disadvantages in being a private lender. Absolutely. Every investment carries risk. You all know that. Okay. Every investment carries risk. You just saw the people who were investing in the stock market lost a whole lot of money like 4 or 5 weeks ago, right? When COVID and then the stock market dropped. No different here in real estate. Although one of the pluses is that we're backed by a real asset, a hard asset. All right. So the disadvantage is, what if you didn't vet a deal correctly, or what if the numbers were off and now you're into a project and the buyer defaults? That's a risk. That is every risk that a regular mortgage company carries is technically what you would carry. Okay. So those are the disadvantages. Now, there are ways to mitigate that risk and to reduce that risk. And that's what you want to employ. For example, a conservative loan style, lending in areas that you're familiar with, truly understanding what the comparables are in a particular neighborhood, understanding of that particular market. You all know Chicago is block by block. Now, if you were trying to be a private money lender living here, but you're investing in Houston, someplace that you've never lived, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to kind of understand those dynamics between communities. And you're going to end up relying on your real estate professional more heavily than you would had you known the area yourself. Okay. So that's definitely one of the risks. If a buyer defaults, some things that you can do to mitigate that. I know a lot of the lenders, they do interest-only loans, but some of them even require 6 months payment up front so that they know that their funders are going to, at a minimum, get 6 months worth of payments because they've collected that much money up front. Okay. Vetting the person's background, understanding their experience in this is going to help to mitigate that risk. If you have someone who's flipped several homes and has not defaulted on a loan or has not gone into foreclosure, then, and is following their timeline, then those are very good credentials that you want to look for. Now, unfortunately, and I'll talk about this just a little bit later, I think it's on my next slide. There are some uphill battles and some hurdles, I should say, some hurdles that first-time borrowers will have to overcome, and that's just the nature of the business. Okay. So all of the above does not matter if you don't have the most important piece in place. So investing locally, starting locally, understanding the 401ks, all of that, understanding different lenders and different lending style, none of that matters if you don't have the most important piece in place. And that is connection, being able to follow up, keeping a database, those of you who want to be lenders, okay, keeping a database of potential borrowers, keeping a database of people who may be looking for funding, and then not only keeping that database, but reaching out to them, talking to them, saying, hey, I've got X amount of dollars, keep me in mind if you have a deal coming up. For those of you who are borrowers, you want to start understanding the lending space. You want to understand what lenders are well received. You want to start understanding which lenders don't have such a good reputation. You want to understand what lenders are looking for. And when you connect with these lenders, whether they're private money lenders or more institutional based, you want to keep that information and follow up with them and keep in touch with them, because you got to stay top of mind. You want to stay top of mind in this field. They meet hundreds of borrowers who want money. Everybody wants money. Who wants money? I want some money. So everybody wants some money, right? And there's never a lack of funding sources. It's just once you tap into the funding source. So on both ends, whether you're going to be a lender or whether you're going to be a borrower, you want to keep that connection going so that it makes it easier for your next project, your next deal. If something goes awry, because real estate, you all have had deals where something may have happened unexpectedly, and that relationship could possibly save you. It could possibly save you on late fees. It could possibly save you on a default, because they've worked with you. They know that you're going to get out the deal. They think that you have a sound plan. All of that plays a part from beginning all the way to end. So none of that matters if you don't keep the connection. So that is so important. And so I just wanted to kind of top off with first-time borrower hurdles. All right. So I've had several clients who are first-time borrowers, and things have definitely changed in light of COVID. I'm sure all of you can attest to. I'm sorry, there's one question here. Which way is the best way to find out which lender is good or which is bad and not just a competitor trash talking? Oh, you want to get the information from the street. Get word on the street. Don't take it from a competitor. A competitor is always going to say what they do better, because if your numbers work, then they want to fund your deal. Do you see what I'm saying? If your numbers don't work, you're going to get turned away, period. So you want to talk to other people. There's plenty of developers in Realtors Women's Council. See who's there, and then, talk to them about who they have used as lenders. What was their experience? Start writing that stuff down. That's important to know. Absolutely. Oops. And so Tiffany's cueing me. She's like, get back to it. Okay. All right. So first time borrower hurdles. Sorry, Tiffany. So I'm noticing that first and foremost, and this goes for traditional lenders as well as hard money and private money lenders. Okay. They have changed their lending requirements and their lending strategy to reduce their risk. Okay. They are reducing their exposure. All right. So some of them are having a longer application period, meaning that their underwriting is becoming more stringent and that they're checking and double checking and triple checking and even instituting new things into the underwriting process while you're in underwriting. I've had a couple of clients who were in underwriting already, and then COVID hit, and then now, it's taking way longer because they have to do extra COVID requirements. There has even been some instances where you were applying for, I know for a fact that for some jumbo loans, for some lenders, a client was applying for a jumbo loan, and in the middle of underwriting, due to COVID, the underwriters, they said, we're no longer providing this product. And they completely erased the jumbo loan. So those types of things are happening to reduce their exposure. You're having higher interest rates in some cases. In some cases, the interest rates are staying the same, but they're requiring you to have more in savings. They want to see $30,000, $40,000 cash in a savings account, and that it's been sitting there for a minute, not that it was just wired in 2 days ago. They're requiring more cash to close. Whereas you were closing with $10,000, you may not have to close with $25,000. Okay. They're doing higher scrutiny on your draw requests. They want to make sure that the work you said is done is absolutely done so that the money doesn't get ahead of the project. So they're doing higher scrutiny on your draw requests. They may be denying some things and say, hey, you're going to have to wait till the next draw to get that one, and just know how that's going to affect your timeline and your money. And they're doing lower LTVs or ARVs. It was a time where people were doing, 65% ARV is pretty much the standard, but people were doing 70 and 75, and they're drawing back. Okay. So they're doing lower LTVs, lower ARVs, which means you have to have more cash, period. Okay. And first time borrowers have always had hurdles. Even before COVID, they've had hurdles because you're a risk. You're a higher risk because people don't know what they don't know until you get into a project. And then you're like, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to take this much time. Life is happening. I don't know how to juggle this project and my life. And it just, it gets away from you. So you're a higher risk. So you might want to demonstrate to them that you've secured a mentor, that you have somebody in your company with experience and a track record to kind of help you with that, to get over that hurdle and to kind of sell your project to them. Okay. And then lastly, and this goes for everybody, you want to know how to communicate your deal to a private money lender. If you're looking for money, then you need to know how to present your project. You need to know how to present your experience and your track record. Okay. So be mindful of that. And you can't just look from the borrower standpoint and say, hey, I want to make money. This is what it is. You got to look from the lender standpoint and say, hey, how do I reduce my risk in my project to make it look appealing to an investor? That's what you have to do. I made it, Tiffany. Did I do it? 3 minutes?
Phenomenal.
I told y'all up front, I don't do filler, only facts. Okay. No filler or fluff over here. So I'm sorry if I was speaking too fast. So, questions. Let me go up here to the chat. Okay. Thank you all for asking questions as we went along, because I know sometimes I will forget a question if someone hits a point. So if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. Happy to answer them. Get the private.
Are comfortable with unmuting yourself if you don't have a huge background noise. We're going to be coming out of the group session at exactly 7:15. So she's going to take us out of this room, take us back to the main room. So if you guys have any questions and want to unmute yourselves,
we got 6 minutes. Okay, Donna asked tips on how to present your deals. Yes, you want to kind of do a pitch deck. Really, if you're coming to a private money lender, you want to say, hey, this is the project. This is what I'm purchasing it for. If you're doing a purchase or a purchase and rehab, or if you're just doing a rehab loan, you want to talk about that. You want to talk about what your scope of work is. You want to say, hey, I had so-and-so come out and do a scope of work. This is comprehensive. These numbers are solid. This is the total dollar amount I'm going to need for the scope of work. This is my timeline. These are my contractors. This is my track record on my contractors. These are the comps in the area right now, and before that it's held steady. You want to talk about the community, the neighborhood, all of that. You want to talk about your exit strategy. You want to say, hey, if this happens, this is my exit strategy. My exit strategy is to flip this. We're going to find a buyer and we're going to, get out of this deal. Or I'm refinancing because I'm doing a buy and hold. You got to state all of those top points for a private money lender to even consider you. And you also want to understand what type of interest rate you're looking for. A lot of private money lenders have an interest rate that they want. And you can also say, hey, I'm looking for this type of interest rate on the loan, and this is how long I expect to be in the project. So if you come with that and you're very clear on that and the numbers work, they're going to run their own numbers. You should be successful presenting your deal to a lender. Kennedy and Lenedra, LTV is loan to value and ARV is after repair value. So ARV, after repair value, Kennedy, so you buy a house for $50,000, but after you rehab it, that house is going to be worth $150,000. That's what you're going to sell it for. That's what the comparables in the market and the forecasting is saying. So that ARV is $150,000. Any more points for a first-time borrower? For the first-time borrower, you really have to figure out how to shore up that experience component, okay? Because that's really going to be their thing. Because a lot of first-time people don't even realize the magnitude and the extent of a construction project. I've been doing this for a while. I've walked through a number of construction projects, and I have no desire to do a construction project. I'm going to stay in my lane, okay? And I absolutely commend and pet all the people, all the developers out here who are doing such a fabulous job. But that's just not my calling. So you have to shore up on that experience component, whether it's you get in someone's mentoring program, whether it's you bring a mentor on board for you to complete that particular project, something to make the private money lender feel secure that you know what you're doing and that you can get to the end, the finish line of this project and get out, and so that the lender can get their money back. Okay. Would you require finding the property and the deal first so that you're able to present to the lender? It actually, you have to do both in tandem, to be honest with you. Yes, you need to find a deal to show to a lender, but a good deal is going to go fast. So that's why if you know that's what you want to do, you need to start networking with lenders now. If anybody who's interested, if you go to epicimpactinvestors.com, that's the website for Epic Impact, okay? There's a tab for borrowers. You can sign up to be a borrower when you have a particular project, and we will vet your deal. If you want to be a lender and you have money and capital ready to invest in a deal, sign up to be a lender. That way, when deals come through, we can contact you and say, hey, we got this deal. This is what it is. You get to determine whether or not you want to move forward with that deal. But that's part of the connection of the borrower and the lending sphere. Okay. Any other questions? I'm trying to watch this time because she said 7:15. We all gonna turn away.
If you guys are getting some important information, please show me some dollar signs in that chat for Attorney Alexis for this information. Thank you. Thank you.
I hope that you all have received this information. If you have other questions, feel free to reach out. I do free 15-minute consultations. You can absolutely schedule appointments for that on Epic Impact Investors website. I'm a real estate attorney as well. If you're looking for a real estate attorney to add to your team, that's enterpriseesquire.com. Christina, you better get it out, girl, because we all turn into pumpkins in 2 minutes. If you have a question, I see you in this chat. But those are the two companies. So Epic Impact Investors, sign up, read the information there. The site is, I think I have most of it done. But like I said, this is a new venture and I just care about our community and getting money into our communities.
We just got notice that she's going to switch us over at 7:20.
7:20. Okay. Yeah. I see the little pop up. Okay. Christina, do you do multiple lenders on a particular project? It is possible, Christina, but you have to understand the risk that carries, because you're going to have a first position lender and then you have a second position lender, and a second position lender is going to be subject to the first position lender, and that increases their risk and their exposure. Okay. And so I've done second position loans. I've done first position loans. I've done second position loans, but there's certain requirements and things that I'm looking for to make sure that I'm going to be secure in a second position state. Okay. Now, if two different lenders, let me just give this example real quick, y'all. I'm talking so fast because they got me afraid of this 7:20 timeline deadline. Let's just say, person A has 50 grand, person B has 50 grand, and they want to lend and they want to give you 100 grand for your rehab project. Well, if one of them is not subject to the other, meaning one is not in the first place and one is not in the second place lien, then, they may want to form their own LLC real quickly to loan that to you directly. Now, through Epic Impact Investors, we can place, since we are the loan servicer and we're putting the people in directly, we can help create that for them and set that dynamic up for them so that they're not a first person or a second person lien, but they're equal and that their money has gone into your project. So it is possible. Thank you all. Thank you so much for the feedback. I appreciate that. I'm over here talking like an Energizer bunny over here. I'm talking so fast.
Makes you sweat now.
Yes, I am. I'm trying to get it out. So thank you all. So Christina, yes, it is possible to do multiple lenders on a project, but you need to understand from the lender's perspective what risk each lender carries and why they will or will not want to do that, essentially.
That's good information. And then do you have any lenders for out of state or just in the Chicago area?
I focus primarily in Chicago. I only do everything local. I practice what I preach, local. You all know the national hard money lenders, like I said them at the top of the hour. You have your ground floors, you've got your Lima ones, you've got, the other ones. There's some other brokers out there that can get you some national lenders and things like that. But like I said, you want to be mindful of, understanding who they are. And if they're from out of state, you may or may not be able to get enough information on them via word on the street. Now, there's plenty of developers who have used out of state and national lenders, and you want to talk to them to see what their experience was.
Good stuff. All right, guys. In 10 seconds, we're going to
10 seconds.
Roll. I appreciate you, attorney.
I feel like the rapture is coming. 5 seconds, you all. Stay